Well, it only took him 9 days, but John Harbaugh has found a new home right up north in the Big Apple because official late last night, John Harbaugh is the new head coach of the New York Football Giants. And boy, is he cashing in. Jordan Schultz tweeted out this morning, the deal for John Harbaugh is expected to be 5 years, total value of $100 million. And if you do the quick math right there, $20 million a year, which puts him up right at the very top of the list, tied with Andy Reid for most dollars a year for an NFL head coach. The good news that we're going to discuss on today's show is now Steve Bisciotti, Baltimore Ravens owner, is off the hook for $52 million. That's a lot of money. The reason it was so high to begin with was because the Baltimore Ravens, less than a year ago, signed John Harbaugh to a contract extension. That came down late March 2025. The details of that contract, the dollar per year, were never announced, but you know it was a decent bit. But now that he's signed with New York, $52 million back in Steve Bisciotti's pocket. And I know what you're thinking, right? Joey, what does that have to do with me? Right? That's Steve's money. And you're not wrong, right? Like, that is Steve Bisciotti's money. Goes into Steve Bisciotti's pocket. Money can't go to the salary cap, unfortunately. But what it can do is it can go straight into hiring a brand new, kick-ass, deep coaching staff. And based on what Steve Bisciotti and Eric DeCosta had to say at their press conference 2 days ago, I do not think they were very impressed with the coaching staff, the regime, over the last couple of years. So you better bet your bottom dollar, literally, that a lot of that $52 million is going to go into this new staff. Like, I never thought that Baltimore was going to be cheap when it comes to hiring a new staff. Like, Steve Bisciotti's not Jerry Jones, okay? He's going to be willing to spend some money to get a new head coach and get some solid assistants into Baltimore. But the extra $52 million that he's now off the hook for, it sure helps. There's no salary cap with how much you can pay a head coach. If you want to go to Nick Saban and say, look, I want to pay you $100 million to come out of retirement off the game day set and come coach the Baltimore Ravens, you could do that. And the thing is you've got 8 open jobs right now. A fourth of the league is open at this current moment. Before last night, 9 open jobs. It's going to be very, very competitive. And when you look at the salaries from last year, I think there's a decent bit of correlation. Now, Pete Carroll topped the list at $15 million. Then you had Mike Vrabel at $14 million. If you see an asterisk right there next to their dollar amount, that means it's rumored. That means it's not technically official, but a lot of people reported it somewhere around there. Ben Johnson, $13 million a year. Liam Coen, $12 million a year. Aaron Glenn at $10 million. Kellen Moore, anywhere from $5 to $7.5. And Brian Schottenheimer, I talked about it, Jerry Jones being cheap, bottom of the list with $4.5 million. And outside of Pete Carroll, what you notice in that list when it comes to Mike Vrabel, Ben Johnson, and Liam Coen, more expensive equals more success. Now, it doesn't always mean that, but I do think it's at least unique to see that with last year's coaching style. Because think about it. Those 3 guys, they made it to playoffs. 2 of them, as in Ben Johnson and the Bears and Vrabel and the Patriots, are 1 win away from going to a title. Say it again. And they're both 2 seeds. Exactly. Thanks, Kate. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, they won their division. Like, guys, Chicago had the 11th overall pick last year. And they're 1 win away from going to the AFC Championship game. Or NFC, excuse me. New England had a top 5 pick last year. And they're 1 win away from heading to the AFC Championship game. You just make the right hire, and money allows you to do that, then you could have success automatically. You just see it this year. Speaking of the openings, right, you got it. Now, the good thing is you've got this money to play with, and I also believe firmly Baltimore is the best job that's available. Miami, not super intriguing to me. Las Vegas, they've been a dumpster fire for decades. Tennessee, exciting with Cam Ward, but that really doesn't do it to me. Arizona might be dead last. Right next to them is probably Cleveland. Atlanta could be intriguing because of the young weapons. Pittsburgh, they got the culture, but like Baltimore. They got the culture. They got the ownership. They've got the recent winning. They've got a future Hall of Fame quarterback and a future Hall of Fame running back on that roster. My opinion, like last year when you look at the head coaching cycle, you knew Ben Johnson, Mike Vrabel, those two were the very, very top of the list. This year it doesn't seem like there's a S-tier candidate. Maybe that was John Harbaugh, funny enough. But I feel like the most expensive ones you're going to get are Clint Kubiak because he's the hottest name, because he's interviewing for the most jobs. That just in and of itself, like Ben Johnson last year, that's going to drive the price up. I think Robert Saleh is going to be decently expensive. He was getting $5 million a year from New York. He's going to want to get more than that, I can promise you. And Kevin Stefanski always has on his resume, look, dude, I'm a 2-time coach of the year. So if you think you're paying me anything less than 12, you're crazy. So some names to keep an eye out on. Not saying I want any of these names. Not saying I don't want any of these names. But in my opinion, these are probably going to be your most expensive. If you're Rashadi, fill in the blank for me. I'd be willing to pay blank million a year for a head coach. Let me know your answer down below in the comment section. Real quick, before we get to the rest of today's show, I got to tell you about our awesome sponsor, our great friends over at Prize Picks. And whether you are starting a new routine in the new year or making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard. But in life and on Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure playoff matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never stops, and Prize Picks lets you take control. Prize Picks now is early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you might have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. With the new social feeds feature, you can share Prize Picks with your friends, copy lineups from winners with a single click. Copy lineups you like or use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow Prize Picks partners like us and tail or fade our picks with just one click. Here's my Prize Picks lineup for this weekend. I got the more on Josh Allen for half a rushing touchdown. Puka Nacua, I think, is going to find the end zone against Chicago. So give me the more on half a receiving or rushing touchdown. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, for the rest of today's show, at least for this next couple of minutes, I thought it'd be fun to let you know where your head coaching odds sit at right now. Okay? Very top of the list, betting odds. Jesse Minter. He's at plus 135. Not really surprising there. All the Baltimore ties, and he's pretty young and up-and-coming name. Clint Kubiak at plus 220. I would absolutely love Clint Kubiak. There's about 4 guys that I would literally jump for joy if the Baltimore Ravens hired. Clint Kubiak's one of them. Funny enough, so is Robert Saleh. He's in third at plus 380. I just feel like Robert Saleh fits as a Baltimore Raven. Another guy I feel fits as a Baltimore Raven is Brian Flores. At plus 550, he's in fourth, and not just because he was the Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator. We know he looks good in purple, but because I feel like he'd bring the aggression, intensity, and physicality back to Baltimore. And then in fifth, probably much to your chagrin, is Kevin Stefanski at plus 600. If I were a betting man, not just because he has the best odds, Jesse Minter would be my bet. Like, that just makes the most sense for the Baltimore Ravens. It feels like the most Baltimore Ravens hire there could be. Really, really strong leader, defensive mind, culture guy, young up-and-comer, has ties to Baltimore. Like, all 5 of those things, it's check, 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 check when it comes to Jesse Minter. And if it is him, the only thing I'd be worried about is hiring an offensive guy who's going to be your OC, but I would trust him to be the leader of this franchise. Make a wager. Who is your bet for the Ravens' next head coach? Let me know down below in the comment section. Real quick, I do want to talk about John Harbaugh landing in New York. Like I said, only took him 9 days. Did not take very long at all. First off, I wish him all the best. I wish him all the luck. Obviously, it's AFC, NFC. You don't play the Giants until, I believe, 2028, maybe 2027. It's not for a while, though. But, man, I never held any ill will to John Harbaugh as a person, as a leader. I just felt like it was time for Baltimore to move on, and I'm glad that they did. But I kept the same sentiment, and I talked about it for the entirety of the end of this year and into the couple days after the season when he still had a job. I talked about it on our live show when he got fired. You can go back and watch it. I literally called out the New York Giants by name. I said, if you are a team that needs stability, like the Browns, Giants, Raiders, John Harbaugh would be a home run. If you're a team that needs culture, needs stability, John Harbaugh is your guy. If you're a team that needs to get over the hump, like Baltimore does, there's a reason he wasn't your guy. Because you haven't been able to do it with him. So thankful for him. Todd Monken is going to follow him to New York. Can't wait to see what he's able to do with Jackson Dart, Cam Scadaboo, Malik Neighbors. Like, that trio is going to be really damn good, guys. And just the end of the day, man, thankful for Harbaugh. Gave us Super Bowl. A lot of really great years. We're going to get out of here. Make sure you guys follow me on socials. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well.